Okay, so first, we're talking about sleep today. I'm Shayla with Sweetwater Wellness and Nutrition, and we have April with Living with Elevation. We're going to talk a little bit about the importance of sleep. We all know how much we kind of should be getting, right? 7 to 9 hours a night. Only less than 60% of Americans are getting 7 to 9 hours per night. I wanted to first open up with some repercussions of not getting sleep, kind of as a country. Every year, over 6,000 fatal car accidents are attributed to drowsy driving. So to just put that in perspective, there's about 10,000 a year killed by drunk driving. And we have over 6,000 fatal car accidents from drowsy driving. Now, that's not the same statistic. Obviously, we're not looking at the exact number of deaths, but that's just almost as big of a problem as drunk driving, yet you never hear of that. So I thought that was a really interesting statistic. Also, people with insomnia are 7 times more likely to have workplace accidents. So we're not just getting hurt on the road, we're getting hurt through the rest of our workplace, the rest of our days. We're definitely not present. There was a really cool study I found that had the economic impact of sleep deprivation at $411 billion per year. So that's workplace accidents, that's people dying early because they're deprived of sleep all the time. All sorts of things were kind of grouped into that, but I thought that was a really interesting thing to hear.
Now, Shayla, just out of curiosity, what's one of the number one complaints you see in your office?
All the time. I can't sleep and I'm so tired. Those are probably the top 2.
So has anyone put together the fact that you can't have energy if you don't have sleep?
Not usually. And hi, Spring, we want to say hi, you're on here. If you have any questions, go ahead and just type them in. But no, do you see people putting that together very frequently?
No, I hear from a lot of people, I'll sleep or when I'm dead. Well, then how are you supposed to have energy if you don't take that time to heal the body, right? To get that rest. Interesting little fact. I loved all your facts that you put out there. One of the things that I was really surprised by is how many, I was looking at how many days can you go without sleep? And did you know that you can go 11 days without sleep? That's no naps, right? Nothing.
Yeah.
You can go 11 days, and then guess what happens to your body at 11 days? You go into a coma.
Yeah, I was gonna say you sleep, I bet.
Regardless. Your body says, oh, you're not sleeping. We're going to put you to sleep. And so we actually go into a coma at that point. Because that's when our body heals, right? That's when our body repairs. So, how many times do you hear that somebody's been put into a medical coma because they've had brain injuries or, something along those lines?
Yeah. Interesting along those same lines is that sleep deprivation compounds. So if you're only getting 6 hours of sleep Monday through Friday, but then you're like, oh, but I sleep all day Saturday, that actually doesn't make up for that. So you're in that sleep deficit every day, and you can't just make it all up at once. And you can't make it up with a 2-hour nap during the day. It's a whole lot different than actually sleeping that 8 hours throughout the night.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that we hear a lot, or that you read about, is the older you get, the less sleep you need.
Yeah.
But if you look at that in perspective, right, the older we get, the more damage we've done to our body, the more that we need to rebuild and repair. So we should actually be sleeping more like a teenager or a child.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and children are sleeping like 18 hours a day, like little babies. But their bodies are building. So what we don't understand is with all the damage we're doing, we should be building that much too, almost, all the damage we're doing to it.
Yeah.
So I think that leads us right into what are some of the things that are happening to our body due to lack of sleep.
So one of the big ones that we see is our reproductive system starts struggling because we're not getting the hormones and not having the time for our body to create and distribute the hormones correctly. We're short on melatonin, which is a huge hormone. So for like women especially, you'll see things like irregular periods. Men and women will see some infertility, and that's when we're sleep deprived. Another huge one, which we all know, right, is our brain function. We can't concentrate. We don't have memory. It actually disrupts our ability to learn. So think of back when you were in college and you were staying up all night studying to take the test.
It's actually worse for you. Yeah.
Yeah. We see a lot of mental health issues. How many times do you talk to somebody and you're like, I'm talking a little crazy because I haven't had any sleep, right? Because you only got like 2 hours sleep the night before. Well, if you have long-term sleep issues, you'll actually start seeing more mental health issues, depression, suicide, risky behavior, things like that. So not getting sleep can affect your mental health. Another big one is heart and the cardiovascular system, the blood vessels. Weight management, because we are changing our hormones, right? And insulin's a big hormone. We're going to have issues with weight management, sugar handling, things along those lines.
Well, so when you're lacking sleep, your brain wants that because it's not functioning as well, right? So you also start craving the sugar more. And really that's just due to lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Not just, there's usually more, but yeah.
And then one of the biggest things that we've been talking about over this past year that can be affected by not sleeping is the immune system.
Yes. Oh, it's so huge.
Yeah.
And Carrie, hi, Carrie. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any.
One of the biggest diseases that I found in my research connected to lack of sleep is heart and kidney disease, which cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in this country.
Of men and women now. It used to just be men, but women now too, which should be alarming.
High blood pressure. That is another one from lack of sleep. Diabetes and stroke.
Wow.
Diabetes from lack of sleep.
Yes. Which is probably very interrelated to that contributes to diabetes, but also you want more sugar, which is contributing to diabetes. You know, all of these things are just coming together, and something so easy as sleeping, right? Who doesn't love sleeping? Can help you in all these ways.
So basically, when I was trying to write down all the areas that I knew of that sleep would be affected by, pretty much your entire body is affected by it. Every working piece is affected by not sleeping. So what do we do for somebody who can't sleep? They want to sleep 7 to 9 hours a day, but they absolutely can't. And so like Shayla and I hear all the time, what can I take for that? And one of the things that I like to focus on is it's never amounts to what can I take for that? It's what can I do to help that?
Yes, or what is causing it? So there are a ton of things that can cause you to not sleep well, right? We've seen this, an overactive sympathetic nervous system. Your adrenal glands are fatigued and they're not operating properly. Gosh, so many things. What you're eating prior to bedtime, your bedtime habits, your hormone balance. I'm sure you have more off the top of your head as well.
So, you pretty much named them. So some of the things that I look at if I am not sleeping good. So am I getting hydrated? I mean, let's just go right to the very basics, right? Am I getting hydrated? What foods am I eating?
On that side note, how close is your water right now?
How close? Mine's right here.
Yeah. If you don't have one by you all day long, you're probably not hydrated.
Oh, and this is caffeine intake and timing. Beautiful. So yeah, are we drinking caffeine right before bed? Even somebody,
Caffeine actually has a half-life of 5 hours. So if you're drinking caffeine prior to 5 hours before bed, or within 5 hours of bedtime, still half of that caffeine is acting in your system at bedtime.
even if it doesn't affect you. Like for me, I can drink a pot of coffee and go to sleep. Caffeine does nothing for me, but it still does affect the quality of sleep that I have if I do it before bedtime.
And that's huge. That's a huge amount. If you're having an energy drink at 3 p.m. when you feel that crash, well, 8 o'clock comes, half of that energy drink is still in your system.
Yeah.
That's just huge that it lasts that long.
So I would look at stress, emotional and physical, right? Shayla and I deal with a lot of physical when we're doing like detoxification, where she's talking about the nervous system being overactive or hypertonic. Spiritual, what are you doing for your spirit? Like, looking at your spiritual health. Are you meditating? Are you doing gratitude lists? Are you doing any form of connection, prayer, anything to connect with the spiritual side? Junk food. Interesting thing that I was finding when I was trying to find exactly what junk food does, it actually makes our body more conductive to electricity.
Oh, very interesting.
And one of the things that is also on here is electromagnetic stress, right? That can be affecting your sleep. Do you have a TV in your room? Do you sleep with the cell phone next to your head? Are you just normally sensitive? I'm sure.
Is your Wi-Fi on?
What's that?
So is your Wi-Fi on? Most Wi-Fi routers, you can set a timer so it's not going off at night, right?
And how many of our clients have to wear a magnet?
Almost all of them.
So sometimes I'll have a client I'll actually tell them to wear their magnet during bedtime.
I put a separate one under my pillow. I just leave it there because I'm just not messing with that anymore,
Yeah. So it could be a lack of essential fatty acids we have.
Mm-hmm.
It can be pain.
Yeah.
Maybe discovering the root cause of your pain and addressing that.
Just bad food and inflammation. Most frequently. Okay. Seeing a pattern here, right?
What about lack of minerals? How many of us have a restless leg syndrome, right? Where our legs just kicking. That could either be maybe we need some minerals or we need to move, do some exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another big one that I thought about this weekend was temperature.
Yes.
Do we have the right temperature?
When you're sleeping, right? So we've heard some of these things before. A cooler room is better, right? And we know a dark room is better, but even the lights on your TV or from if you have like a wireless phone charger, those lights are still interfering with you being able to sleep. It doesn't have to be daylight or big bright lights. That still will make it more difficult for you to sleep.
Well, and it doesn't always need to be cool either, because like this weekend, actually myself and some other practitioners got to go stay with Shayla, and I shared a bedroom with one of the practitioners, and she has to have it very warm in order to sleep well. I like it very cool. So figure out what your temperature is. And even another one is sound. Do you need sound?
Mm-hmm. And if that's what you're used to, yeah, sometimes that is, I used to live next to some railroad tracks actually. And when I first moved there, I could not sleep ever. But then anytime I traveled out of town, I noticed that I struggled to sleep without that background noise. So TV as background noise, not good. Okay, FYI. That is also, we didn't talk about that yet, but the blue light emitted from all your electronics is interfering with your sleep cycle. So that's from your TV, that's from your phone, your tablet, any of those things that provide their own lighting. So some of the Kindles and e-readers are lit a different way that they don't have that. But in general, all of your electronic devices are going to emit that blue light, which actually wakes you up.
So another one is eating late one of the things that I like to talk to my clients about is when you're ingesting toxins, they are actually stimulants to the body.
Interesting.
So if you're eating something processed before bed, you're actually stimulating your body during that time. This was a fascinating one for me because I'm not a feng shui person. But for some people, the mattress and the direction of the mattress will affect their sleep.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah. So we usually blame the mattress first, when usually more than likely what I've discovered is it's a food issue causing inflammation, and we're blaming the mattress. But for some select people, their mattress is the problem and the direction of it.
Yes. And yes, you do want a good, comfortable mattress, obviously. But you're correct. A lot of people wake up and, oh, my back hurts every day. And they go through 4 or 5 different mattresses. And guess what? None of them worked. It's so weird, but it's actually an underlying issue that's causing them to be in pain and their back to hurt every day.
Another one is we're deficient in B vitamins.
Can't sleep. And a lot of people, when you hear B vitamins, you say, don't those give you energy? So I just wanted to clarify here. Yes and no. It depends on the B vitamins that you're taking. So yes, there are some that are important in the energy production process, and there are some that are good for calming you. So it depends on the B vitamin. Okay, so don't just be like, oh, I need B vitamins and go grab something and take it at night. That may not be helpful.
Well, and especially in my office, I tend to give my clients their B vitamins in the morning for that reason. And then that way they can build it up in the body, but I don't recommend that they take them right before bed.
Yeah, exactly. So speaking of taking things, though, I know one thing a lot of people really go towards is taking melatonin. Do you have anything to say there?
Actually, we just did a hormone class the other day with Dr. Dan and Becca, and that actually got brought up by one of my clients who asked why I did not recommend taking melatonin for sleep. Here's the thing, if melatonin is helping you sleep, then we know we have a hormonal issue, right? And so let's look and see what's causing that hormonal issue, because if you start taking isolated hormones, it disrupts the body's function over a period of time. So
it does. So what the body has is a negative feedback loop, guys. So it will see, okay, so I have all of this melatonin, and it literally will bind back to receptors where you're producing that, and it will say, we got enough, we're good. So since you're artificially stimulating that, you're really exacerbating that problem of your body not producing that melatonin. Because you're overloading it and you're overloading those receptors, and then your body is saying, okay, we're good. So you're just creating a bigger problem. Not to mention that no hormone in your body has just one function and only affects itself. That's never a thing.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes.
One of the things that you can do if you want to help stimulate your body in creating melatonin naturally is doing a circadian rhythm reset. And for that, what you're going to do is stimulate the third eye, the pineal gland, right? And so what you're going to do is around the time of the sunset, I want you to go outside. I want you to take your glasses off. Don't wear contacts, right? Nothing that will block your view. I want you to have no shoes on, because I want you standing in the earth, in the dirt, right? I want you to be facing the sunset. I want you to be in a comfortable position, feet shoulder width apart, relax. Don't have your knees straightened, just be in a very comfortable position. Roll your shoulders back and down, raise your chest to the sun. I want you to have your hands open and facing forward, but just down. right? Just down.
Okay.
I want you to watch the sun go down. Just watch it. You don't have to do this for an hour. You could do this for a minute. Just watch the sun. When it completely goes out, I want you to just breathe deep in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to shake your hands. I want you to look around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to go in your house. I do not want you to turn on your TV, turn on your cell phone. And when you get tired, go to sleep.
Interesting.
And that will reset your circadian rhythms. Another thing that you can do to reset your circadian rhythms is take a very bright light, which most of us don't have, and put it on the bare skin behind your knee.
Oh, very interesting.
But those are some of the things that you can do to stimulate the pineal gland, stimulate the melatonin production. And when you get tired, go to sleep. When your body starts giving you melatonin and putting you to sleep, what do? We're going to push through it, right?
Or take some more caffeine.
Yeah. We have an exam tomorrow, or busy, like we have to study for this, or we have to have this project done, right? So we have to work through it. And that can also affect our melatonin.
Yeah, and the signals you're receiving from your body, right?
Yeah.
Your body's only tell you so many times and get ignored.
And then eventually it just gives up.
Hey, whatever. Yeah, she's not going to listen anyways. So it's really important to start tuning into that. And, when you do start getting sleepy, start doing relaxing things. Shut the TV off, take a hot shower, go relax in bed and just talk to your partner or read like a real paperback book. Meditate during that time, things that are going to help your body get into that. Don't, I'm starting to get tired. I better hurry and vacuum and dust before I go to bed. So then you're hyped up and you've just ignored those signals.
Another one that I see a lot is people come in, they've been taking some type of a sleep aid. Mm-hmm. That's not natural, that's synthetic. So, they're taking Tylenol PM, what is it called? Sleep Quill, mm-hmm. Or they're taking something that's pharmaceutical.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to share, I actually have this long list of side effects from sleep aids that are not a natural sleep aid. Premature death, that's a fun one, right? Amnesia.
Yeah.
Sleep eating. Sleep apnea, which I do want to touch on in this too. Okay. Falling. Seizures. Insomnia. Obesity.
Not sleeping is a side effect of your sleep pills.
I have a very fascinating story of someone in my family. I got a phone call at 6 o'clock at night that I had a family member talking to the police officers at the grocery store. And so I took off. I went to the grocery store, ran into this family member. He had taken his sleeping pills, thought it was 6 o'clock in the morning. His car was not parked correctly. The lights were still on. The dog was in the car. He had no idea. He thought it was 6 o'clock in the morning, and he had actually put himself in a very terrifying situation, if you think about this.
Yeah, driving and like unable to park. That's terrifying.
Yeah, he was actually awake while on these sleep aids.
Wow.
Another one that sleep aids can cause is obesity, high blood pressure, increased risk of stroke, increased risk of heart disease. So you think you're getting the sleep, right, to prevent the heart disease, but in reality, you're actually making it worse.
And probably the most common on there is drowsiness, right? Or fatigue. So it's putting you to sleep all night, but you're still tired and fatigued in the morning.
Yeah, that tells you did not have a good night's rest.
Exactly. Okay, continue with some.
Neuropathy. Now we blame neuropathy on diabetes, don't we?
Yeah, always.
Yeah. But neuropathy can be caused from a sleep aid. Depression.
And interconnected. When you wake up in the middle of the night, you're not eating veggies, guys. Okay.
No, we had a gal stay at our house that found this hidden bottle my daughter had bought of Hershey's chocolate syrup. I didn't even know it was in my fridge.
Nice. Yeah. So, you wake up, you're eating the sugar, right? You're messing with your hormones. All these things help also lead to diabetes, but, it could really be as simple as you're not sleeping, causing all of these other things as well.
Yeah. And then last on my list, there's many, many more, but these are the big ones, is depression. And do you have a statistic right offhand, Shayla, of how many people suffer from depression?
No, but it is huge. It is so huge. And that's probably one of the most common things that people come in for as well. Like, people are noticing they don't feel good. They're not optimistic. They're not happy. They're tired and cranky all the time. Tired, but they can't sleep. And again, I keep saying this, but it's all interconnected. And it's not just a chemical imbalance in your brain most of the time, or it's an imbalance because of something else, right? So again, when we're just trying to balance that by giving you an isolated synthetic hormone, it's causing more damage, really. And you'll see that in the way that these medications are prescribed. You start on 10 milligrams, and then a few years later, you're on 20, and a few years later, you're on 40, and then you're maxed out, and you're not feeling any better at all. So your body stopped producing those as well.
Another one that we tend to look at is alcohol. And I know you and I had a conversation about that.
Oh, this was a cool statistic, actually. More than 2 servings of alcohol decreases your sleep quality. So everybody's like, oh no, I sleep great after a couple of drinks, right? Just pass right out. It decreases your sleep quality by 40%. That is huge. Like, you're just not recovering at all. And many people, to be frank, don't drink those couple drinks at night, so they don't know the difference in their sleep, right? It's huge though. Your sleep quality is half of what it was prior. That's just from 2 drinks.
Well, and one of the biggest symptoms that alcoholics deal with is insomnia.
Mm-hmm. And you will wake up from like 2 to 3 while your liver's trying to process that if you've had a lot of alcohol. Pay attention to when you're waking up at night.
We're not telling you can't ever drink.
Yeah,
if you're having a sleep issue, maybe avoid it.
Yeah, maybe, really think about that twice. If you're drinking it so you can relax to go to sleep, are you really helping yourself?
Yeah.
You might be in the moment and you might feel, for an hour or 2 that you're more relaxed, but overall it's not helpful.
So I wanted to kind of touch on sleep apnea because it's becoming more and more of a problem.
Yes.
And we always think weight loss, right? But why does weight loss help with sleep apnea? Because in most cases, not always, but in most cases, sleep apnea is a structural issue.
Mm-hmm.
So when we gain a lot of weight and we're laying down and sleeping, our structure gets out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the things that you can do naturally for sleep apnea is going to the chiropractor, getting regular massages, because when chiropractic's not working, sometimes the problem is the muscles are too tight and they're pushing the spine back in.
And that's becoming increasingly common for chiropractors to offer massage. So I think that's a great step, and take advantage of those 2 things together. There's a reason they're offering it.
Another thing you can do is good pillows.
Yes.
High quality pillows. And for some people, it's better if they have thinner ones, firmer ones, softer ones, but experiment with some pillows. And the biggest one of all is good food, because when we have inflammation in the body, it can actually affect us structurally. It can start closing things off.
Yes, it's all the inflammation. And if you can't breathe through your nose all night, right? And then you're sleeping weird, or you have, a lot of inflammation here as well. Yeah, that really changes things.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch on that because we have a huge sleep apnea problem. And, it's scary. Sleep apnea is scary.
It is. Yeah. And you can go in and have sleep studies done and stuff, and they'll track like how low your oxygen saturation gets. And it's really quite alarming. If you had those rates when you were alive, there would be, or awake, you're still alive. But when you were awake, they would be taking you to the hospital,
Yeah.
And that's very scary.
Now, what are some of the things that we can do on a daily basis to get better sleep? I know we've touched on some, but can we kind of just go through that list, Shayla?
Yeah, so we did touch on what you're eating and when you're eating, right? That does have a huge effect, especially processed foods and very simple carbs and sugars. I know that's what we all crave at night. There are other reasons you're craving that. Among them, obviously, can be sleep deprivation, but that's keeping you from sleeping well. If you're waking up and having cookies in the middle of the night every night, like, we have a sugar handling problem and some other issues.
And I would like to throw out there even potatoes. Grains can sometimes cause that. So I recommend nothing that has a very high carbohydrate count after 4 p.m.
Yeah. And so if you're eating dinner later than that, then you just don't have carbs with your dinner. And I promise it's not death. Okay. You can still have a very good dinner that's not loaded with carbs. Definitely make sure that your room is a relaxing place. I've heard this kind of goes with the energy there, but if your room is also where you work out, where you have every fight with your partner, where you do work or study, and also where you sleep, you have a lot of different energies happening in there. If it's only the place that you relax, then literally by going in there, it becomes more relaxing, right? But if it's a place where you feel like you need to be awake or asleep, or it's bright yellow, okay? Yellow is an energizing color, FYI. So if you painted it a bright yellow, even these things carry energy. So the way that you set up your bedroom is very important for that. We go to sleep. Like, our bedroom is for sleeping. You won't see us, hanging out in there watching TV. We don't even have a TV in our bedroom. Like, that's just not a thing we do. We don't watch it while we're going to sleep. Like, you go to bed in your bedroom, and that really sets the tone for you.
And I just want to point out that you want to stop all technology, since she brought up the TV, all technology an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah. So laying in bed on Facebook, not helpful. That's why I said read a real book. Like, Kindles are great. I love them. Okay. Because I can have 72 books like right in my pocket, but have a real book on your nightstand. Okay. If that's what you want to do, is read and go, read before you go to sleep. And they smell great, on a side note. Okay. I love the smell of real books. So you can do that. You can, hot baths and showers, if that's something that relaxes you, then take one before bed. That's much better than having 2 drinks, right? You're eliminating toxins. Again, sometimes showers really wake people up. It kind of depends on the kind of person you are. But if that's something that relaxes you, that's something very easy to do before bed.
What about activity? I mean, doing some activity, wearing your body out so it'll be better.
Not too close to bed, right? You don't want to be like vigorously doing sprints and then like, okay, bedtime, right? Because that's going to be difficult. But absolutely doing some activity all day so that you feel tired and worn out and your body wants to recover. It wants to rest. That's super important.
Another thing that we could do is don't sleep longer on the weekends.
I was just going to say that, consistent sleep schedules. Yeah. And I can tell you that is very important because right now I unfortunately work shift work and I know how hard that is on my body. Not having that consistent time when you're going to sleep at 6, or at 8 o'clock and waking up at 4. That's not very common. How about 9 and 5? Then you're getting your 8 hours of sleep. But if you are just sleeping super long on the weekend and staying up super late, that's not helping your sleep patterns at all.
We could do no caffeine after 3.
Yes. And even earlier, if you have to wake up early in the morning, well, then you need to be getting to bed earlier, right?
Yeah. So one of the things that I get asked about is monkey brain, right? Where you're laying in bed and you're struggling with trying to figure out everything you need to do tomorrow and the list start. And now we see this a lot with the autonomic nervous system. And so, there's things that we can do in our office to address that. But one of these tricks I was taught by one of my instructors a few years back was this great trick where you're just going to get comfortable in bed. You're going to close your eyes. You're just going to be really comfortable. And what you're going to do is you're going to inhale, exhale, and then say in your head, 1. Inhale, exhale, 2. Inhale, exhale, 3. And when you hit 5, you start all over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you hit 100, monkey brain kicked in. So you're focusing, this is like our version of counting sheep. You're focusing on making sure you're only doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it usually takes me a couple cycles and I'm out.
And there are a lot of breathing techniques like that. One is like, I don't know the exact ones, but you like breathe in for 10 seconds and hold it for 3 and, breathe out. But it's the same concept as that you're counting those seconds and those breaths instead of all the other things. And that really does help to clear your mind. So I know a lot of people are going to say, well, just meditate, right? That's easier said than done for most people. Okay. Sitting down and saying, okay, mind, think about nothing.
And that's kind of how this works so well, is because then you are concentrating on something, but it's actually putting you to sleep.
Exactly. It's just something that's relaxing and not stressful. I had one more thing, that naps during the day, again, they don't count. Okay. And that will mess up your schedule. Power naps, different story. Okay. 30 minutes or less is a power nap and can be very beneficial. More than 30 minutes and you are messing up your sleep schedule.
I wanted to kind of touch on some herbs.
Yes.
Now, Shayla and I like to use synergistic herb blends in our office because when you go with just individual herbs, you only get that one piece. And so we tend to work with synergistic blends. So if any of you are, curious, like especially if your clients, we probably already have you on something like that if you're seeing us. But one of the things I wanted to do for like adrenal support, which is our energy, sleep, and stamina, right? Is ashwagandha, licorice, rhodiola, and ginseng. If it's more just like your nervous system, you're really on edge. This is somebody who tends to have more anxiety, maybe some panic attacks, things along those lines. But these will really calm the nervous system. Is passion flower and valerian root. So those are a couple. Then we have also saffron, St. John's wort, skullcap, and chaste tree are some other ones you can try. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer that when you are working with herbs, you need to know if they're contradictive with anything. And that's why working with a professional tends to be probably the best way you could go, because if you're on these medications or something, you can have some contraindications with that. So if that's the case and you're just wanting to, you really need to just do some of these other techniques that we've talked about, changing the way we eat, making sure we're drinking, we're moving the body, and going from there.
Yes, and the lifestyle changes, guys, they're the cheapest Okay. Like, and
80%.
they're so easy. You can implement them today, right?
Yeah.
And try
And
some of these things.
that'll correct about 80% of your sleep issue just by changing your lifestyle.
Yeah. And that diet and lifestyle is 70% of all disease progression and expression. So that's very interesting. You can apply this to every aspect of your life, really. So I think that's all the big things I wanted to hit. Do you have any big things you would like to hit?
I think we've done a very good video on things that people can do to help with sleep. So I appreciate you, Shayla, for doing this.
Yes, thank you so much. It was great.
For all of you out there, Shayla and I are going to be teaming up and providing these classes more regularly. And so that way we can get all this information out there for you. If you're interested with working with Shayla, where can they reach you at?
307-707-0203. But you can just look up Sweetwater Wellness and Nutrition. I'm on Facebook. I have a website. I'm on Google.
And you can reach me at livingwithelevation.com. It has all of my information, or through my Facebook page. And you know, both of us, if you're really wanting to work on sleep and these lifestyle changes and things are something that's not working for you, or something that you want more accountability, you want more coaching and guidance, then we would love to work with you on this.
Yes, we're always here for you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.